everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. In today's video I'm going to be sharing my March and April colour combinations. Unfortunately I couldn't get around to sharing my March combinations. I think that was because my computer had broken and we were getting it fixed, and then by the time it kind of got to the end of the month it was too late to do the video, and then I was really busy preparing for exams and stuff and didn't get as many videos out in April as I would have liked to. So I thought I would just put both of them together in one video, because the April combinations, I didn't actually have that many, and the pages from Mine Resida Europa that go together as a double spread, there's only a few extra things to share in terms of combinations for the second page. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. As I always say, this is inspired by Emma from Emma Colours 2020, and what I will do is scan the pages with all of my combinations and put it down in the description for you as a PDF file so that you can print it out if you wish to. The idea of this video is that I share the combinations and show the pages, but obviously it's much easier if everything's written down, so I'll explain it as we go. So starting with March, the first page is the Easter page that I did from the Wild Mouse Uru's Journey sketchbook, and the combinations that I used, some of them are the same as the other page that I did. So let me just get that one, because I did share this page in probably February, I think. So the February colour combinations, you can find all the combinations for this page. And then the page that I did here has a variation of the flowers. They're pretty much the same. The leaves are exactly the same though, and the nest is the same. So I didn't bother writing those combinations down again, because I thought, you know, I can find the colour combinations earlier in the book and I've already explained them. So what I did was I wrote down the different colours for the characters, because they appear quite a lot, and I thought it would be good to just have consistency so that I know for reference when I colour more of the pictures, you know what's what. So Yururi the mouse is here, and these are the combinations I used. So this combination is for the actual body. I decided to do him sort of an ochre brown colour to match. I did use all of the colours and took them from the inspiration pages at the front of the book, so they are all as close as I could get them, but there are some good reference images here for most of the characters, and you can also get a PDF of this book so that you can actually look at each page if you'd like to, and I may use those as inspiration when I colour more of the pages. So this combination here was the trousers, and then this green combination was the scarf, and I wanted the scarf that kind of more of a lime green colour compared to the green that I'd already got going on in the page. And then this is the hedgehog. So I know that she comes up quite a lot in the book, and again I wanted to make it as realistic as I could to the reference images. Now this is all Holbein, just as a side note, and if you haven't watched one of these videos before, the way I do my, I guess, coding system, B is for base, so they're all of the colours that I used to base, because I do that quite a lot and it tends to be the lightest colour, not always but usually. S is shadow, so I usually go back in with the darker colour once I've gone through all the colours, and the order that I list them in is the order that I use them. So for example, up here I did yellow ochre first, and then worked from dark to light, and then back to the dark one if there's a S, which in this case there is. And then yeah, I do note different fine liners and things that I use, but they're minor things. So we've got the colour combination up here was for the spikes of the hedgehog, and then this combination here was the body. Up here we have what I used for her pinafore, apron, and then this bit was slightly lower down, like the underneath of the apron or dress. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah, I hope that makes sense. And then I thought I wouldn't put them in their own boxes because they don't appear as much, but the chicks, I think they feature a couple more times in the book, and so does the rabbit. So they are the colour combinations for those. And then the flowers are, as I said, a variation on the flowers that are in my February colour combinations. So they're pretty much the same but slightly lighter, and I quite like just doing a variation, otherwise it gets a bit samey. So these have fine liner on them, which makes them quite complex because I did the pencil and then I went over the fine liner, but I really like the texture that that gives. And then the pansies, I tried to do them as realistic to what a pansy looks like. I've coloured them quite a few times before but never really got them right, but I also wanted to make sure that the colour wasn't miles off what I'd already included on the page, because I didn't want to just add a bluey purple when I haven't really got that already. So this ties in. There are many different colours of pansies, but I decided to go with this type just to match the flowers. So that's pretty much everything for that page. I didn't write down everything. Some stuff was just using the pencils I'd already got. So things like the eggs and the colour palette, I literally lost my words, the watercolour palette, things like that, they had colours that had already been used. I didn't want to keep adding colours. Same thing for the grass, they were greens that I'd already used. So I don't write down absolutely everything, I just write down the things that I think will be useful for me and hopefully for you. So that is that page. So next we have the pages from Mona Lisa de Europa by Rita Berman. I'm going to share both pages at the same time because it makes sense, seeing as they have the same colour palette. And then I'll share the April colour combination with the few extra things that were on this page. So I did this page first in March, and then I did this page and just finished it actually at the beginning of May. So you will see this on my completed May pages. But I thought, seeing as I'd started it in April, I'd keep it in the April colour combinations. So this page, I wanted to experiment with different colours and not just use the same sort of colours that I always use for flowers. So there are quite a few different flowers here. I'm not sure exactly if some of them are what I wrote them as, but yeah, that's just what I thought they were. So we've got the background, which was, and these are all luminance and black widows, which is here. And then I thought this was elm. I looked at a picture, a reference photo, and I think it is. That's how I coloured it. Again, with a few of these things, I've used fine liner on top, so all white gel pens. I've used fine liner on top of this and these flowers here. And the elm, the brackets are referring to the different parts of it. So this bit up here is the branch, and then this is the actual elm. The purple pink flowers here, that is this flower. And again, the brackets, what I did was these flowers are ever so slightly different to these ones. So I was just highlighting which one's which. The forget-me-not flowers are the blue purple flowers down here. Hibiscus, that colour combination is this flower. That's got white gel pen on top. The clovers are these. Now these are quite interesting. Again, they're not four-leaf clovers or anything, but that's what I just called them. They've got pink and some green, well, a teal sort of colour, but they've also got grey in just to dull it down a little bit. So that's quite a complex combination. So essentially what I did was I did a base with the green slime and then used iceberg, then cat's eye, then spiderweb, and that was it. So, and then I think I blended it with a Prismacolor blender. I should say that actually, for quite a lot of the stuff, some things I use a blender, sometimes I don't, and I haven't always written it, which isn't good for consistency, but that's just, sometimes I forget. But more often than not, I use a blender. Then the purple flowers here, they are these ones. And the leaves, there's two types of leaves that I did. We've got the more olive type green leaves up here, and then these ones here. So that's again just referring to the separate leaves. So they are all the combinations for that page, and then all of the combinations are the same on this page, apart from a few things. I did add a couple more new colours and varied a few things, so I would just find those. So we've got the Parisian houses, which I decided to write down because there are quite a few more Paris pages, and I will probably keep them the same sort of colour palette just so that it's cohesive. So again, these 3 sections are referring to the different parts. So the Coal and Dark Night was for the roof. The Dark Flesh and Light Pink was for the actual main part of the house. And then these colours here, the browns and ochre sort of colours, were for the window frames and things like that. Then the curtain has already used Wash Purple and Cat's Eye that I've used before on this page, except I added the Picasso Sky as a base, so it's got a bit more of a blue tone to it. And then I used white gel pen on top and also a fine liner. So that was something slightly different that I decided to add. And then the sky, again, uses the same colours, but just a bit of a brighter blue. I say the same colours, almost the same colours, but again, that's something I thought I would write down because I quite liked how that wash sort of colour came out for the sky. So yeah, apart from that, everything is exactly the same, and I just used the colours that I had to colour the extra elements. So all the things like these letters and things, I didn't bother writing that down because they were the things that I just kind of coloured once I knew what the colour palette was. And the cats, again, I could have written the colour palette down, but there aren't that many cats, and to be honest, the likelihood of me wanting them to be exactly the same as this again anyway is quite unlikely. But that was just some layered browns, not brown, sorry, grey, and then the black, in case you're interested. But yeah, that was everything for that double spread. So what I am doing in this book is, if I feel the pages can go together as a double spread, then I make the colours cohesive together, even though I colour them at separate times. The things that hinted to me that these were, you know, good as a double spread was the fact that these flowers are exactly the same. Some of the leaves were the same, and I just thought, you know, they go really well together, and that's probably why Rita put them together on the same set of pages. So yeah, that's that one. And then back to just finishing the March combinations. So we've got the I Believe in Fairies postcard that I did in March, which was this one. Now I used all luminance for this page, and there were lots of things that I colour the same. So if I use, I don't know, say Black Widows for this set, the way I colour the berries with the luminance is probably very similar to how I would colour berries with the Black Widows. But I decided to write a few things down because, again, actually the likelihood of me using these are quite likely, because I actually really like how the strawberry, for example, came out. And there were certain things that I thought I might as well write it down. So the chick definitely is a colour palette that I will be using again. So again, all luminance for this. I did also use a fine liner on top. The strawberry was a couple of different colours. There was some that I layered that I wasn't really expecting to use. The anthraquinoid pink. I'm not sure if that's how I say it. But that was what I used for a base. So I didn't use a red, I used a pink. The flowers were the most interesting part for me to do. I'm really glad I wrote how I did these. So we've got fine liner and white gel pen for highlighting and things like that, but the actual flower was very simple in terms of the colours for like the underneath layer, so that was quite interesting. The only thing I didn't write was the middles of the flowers, but having said that, I think I used bronze gel pen on top, but it was probably just a brown ochre colour or something, but that doesn't really matter too much. And then the berries were a standard combination that I know I'll use again. So that's everything that I put down for that. Most of the other stuff, I just took the colours that I had from the set and worked with them. I don't have the full set, so I was definitely limited with a couple of colours that I could have done with, but I just blended and figured it out. So the things like the leaves, I'm actually pleased with how the leaves came out. So it was really interesting to just have to focus on, you know, a set amount of pencils in just one set. So it was a great challenge. And obviously I use embellishments and things, but they're the pencil combinations that I wrote down. And I'm actually colouring a page at the moment with strawberries, but I'm using black widows. So if you don't have one set, then hopefully over the course of these videos, especially since I colour a lot of flowers and a lot of leaves and things like that, there'll be combinations in a pencil set, you know, if you're interested in following that, that you'll have. So that was Luminance. And then I think the last one is from April. Yeah, and this is Mein Frühlingsbasier Gang, again by Rita Berman. And this was a very limited page, which I shared in my completed pages for April. So I didn't use many colours for this at all, which is why I don't have much written down for it. So all of the colours for the page were taken from the butterfly, which I coloured first, apart from the cherry blossoms. So I added a few colours for the cherry blossoms, but everything else is just the colours that I'm about to tell you for the butterfly. So I thought there's no point writing down everything when essentially they're the same. So this is my standard combination for a butterfly. It's the first time I've used these this combination with black widows though, so I needed to write it down because I've got the combination sorted for polychromos and that's what I usually used, but I really like how it came out with the black widows, so I'll definitely be using it again. So the way this combination worked, there's no base because I'm going from blue to yellow, so if I put yellow down first, the blue wouldn't, you know, be a little bit green, and I think doing a base would make it a bit muddy, so instead I just blend from colour to colour. So it's just simply in this order. And then the cherry blossoms, again, with the only thing that I changed. So these are quite similar to the flowers from the I Believe in Fairies postcard. So I did the base with pencil, but then went over with white gel pen, and that's what took the longest out of everything. So yeah, it's just in this order, and then I used a fine liner over the top. And the only other colour that I added was Bruise, which is one of my favourite colours from the Black Widow Dragon set. And actually, there's no luminance on this page, it's just Black Widows. I tend to just use luminance and Black Widows in conjunction with each other in Rita's books, but for this I just use Black Widows. And yeah, I just use Bruise for the background. Usually I do gradiated backgrounds, but I'm really happy I just did a solid background for this. I think for this particular page it works really well, and I'll be doing that more. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. I may have added a couple more colours for the berries and things, and I can't remember if I added a grey for this feather, but essentially it was these colours for this page. So it's very limited, and I enjoy doing limited colour palettes. So they are all of the combinations, and I think on this occasion as well I didn't use the blender as much. I used it in some places but not all the time, but it's personal preference with blenders. That's why I don't write them down all the time, because I do use them and I personally like to have no white space, but it's completely up to you, and that's just what I do. So yeah, that's that page. So that's everything that I have to share with you. I think actually it made more sense doing the March and April together, because as I said, the other Rita Berman pages went well together. So these videos, because I'm sort of colouring in the same books and things, and I colour a lot of the same elements, as I said, like flowers and leaves, hopefully they'll be quite good as a sort of series, and I'm really enjoying doing them. So I will have the pages with everything written down in the description for you in case you're interested. And yeah, if you ever follow along with anything, not that I expect people to, you know if people do from watching these videos, but I'd really love to see. And I always love receiving emails and stuff like that. It really makes my day. And just, this is something that I feel I can do to give back in some way, because I did used to write down my combinations, but not as much as I liked. So knowing that I'm making videos with the combinations that I write down really motivates me to write them down and keep them. And I'm glad that I am, because it's helpful to go back to and actually remember what I used for pages, because I have been asked for, you know, specific pages and what I use and I just don't know. So this is a good way of having a record of what I've used. So yeah, that's everything that I have to share with you. Thank you so much for watching, and again, thank you so much, Emma, for the inspiration for these videos, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.